All right, fastest 15 minutes in social media and on the internet. My name is Judson Powell, and I am here in protest today of the South Carolina, Greenville, South Carolina, and all of those that are duplicitous with the illegal slave trade of African American men and poor men in general through their child support system. I am a victim of that system. I finally was able to get out of the state of South Carolina, and now they're coming to get me as I live now in Arizona. And I'm not trying to hide these facts or anything like that. What I'm trying to do is shed light. First of all, they came, they picked me up, they put me in shackles. Okay, this is in South Carolina. I came there in order to answer for child support. They put me in shackles. They locked me up. They trumped up some phony charges, said that I was stalking my ex-wife, which there was no way. I wasn't even in the same state. I wasn't doing anything. They locked me up for almost a year. And during the time that I was locked up, they would not give me bail. They would not give me a bond. They said that because I was from out of state, that I was a flight risk. Okay. Meanwhile, while I'm in jail, they grabbed me once again, put me in shackles, pushed me before Judge Verdine. I guess that's her name. This lady. I go in. I tell her, well, she asked me some questions. And I told her, because I am a lawyer, and I told her I cannot answer your questions because I have a pending criminal case, right? And if you are in a pending criminal case, anyone that knows law knows that anything that I say in any other proceeding can be used against me in the ongoing criminal case. And I told her that I would like to have a lawyer. She told me no, and in no uncertain terms to be locked up. During the time that I was locked up, I asked for a bond. Once again, they said that I was a flight risk, and that the only way that they would allow for me to be released on bond, because at the time I actually had the money in order to pay the bond. All right. Granted, the stalking charge is a charge that most people don't even go to jail for. In fact, it's not even prosecuted that often. All right. So then I had other people that were willing to put up bond for me. But guess what? Because they said that I needed a surety bond, that I had to own, or that they had to own property in the state of South Carolina. I had never been to the state of South Carolina. Never been there, had no ties to it, nothing. All right. But now all of a sudden I owe the state of South Carolina $35,000, and I have never been there in my life. And basically, this is their form of extortion. I know that it's going on all around, because then finally, after a while, and this is after I pled guilty to the I can't even remember the charge now, but I pled guilty to a lesser included offense of the stalking, right? And it was a misdemeanor. And they offered me time served, right? And I was like, okay, because everybody that I saw, and this is another thing, in the 13th Judicial Circuit, everybody that went there, everybody, especially the black guys that were there, everybody that was locked up with me during the year that I was locked up with, everybody that took a jury trial over taking the plea bargain went to prison. Everybody. I'm not just saying everybody, unless you had an extremely high paid lawyer, you went to prison. One of my roommates at the time, one of my cellmates, he ended up going to jail for life. They offered him a plea bargain. He didn't take it. He went to a jury trial. He was convicted on a 3 strikes law and went to jail for the rest of his natural life. So what I'm trying to tell y'all is that this thing is criminal. All right. When I went to South Carolina, I had a good job and I was providing for my children. and I was doing everything that I needed to do in order to provide for my family, because that's all I'm about. I'm not out here doing a whole bunch of, crazy stuff or anything like that. I provide for my family, which is what I do now. And right now, they're still trying to extort this $35,000 out of me, even though my children, except for one, all live with me or have lived with me. I feed them, I clothe them, I take care of them. They live under my roof. All right. I have never, and this is because they left their mother's house. And they left their mother's house for various reasons. Look, the state is not concerned. It's supposed to be, the law says that it's supposed to be whatever is in the best interest of the children. Right now, it is not in the best interest of my children to take $35,000 away from me and give it to a woman who is running around gallivanting with various people and various men. That's not good. All right. My children are on the way to college. I have them on college prep programs. I have, my daughter just came back from making college visits. All right. I have them going towards a good future. Even their mother, I helped their mother get through college. All right. My mother and my father are both college educated. All right. So this is not something that's new to me. Okay. I graduated 3 times from college. I have 3 college degrees, and I'm not saying that to brag, but they never even gave me an opportunity. They took me into a hearing, all right, gave me a hearing, basically asked me what was I going to do, and whether or not they, I would either get this probation or I would be able to walk on time served. Do you realize, and they never put probation on the table when we were having discussions. When I got there, the judge said that. When I had the other thing is, when I had a preliminary hearing about the charges, the public defender never said anything. I tried to speak on my own behalf, and the judge told me at that particular time basically to be quiet, that I was represented. And then in this other hearing, he tells me, well, you had your opportunity to speak. I was like, I never had an opportunity to speak. They never allowed me to speak. Like I said, every time I was brought in shackles and in chains, and I have never committed a crime in the state of South Carolina or in any other state for that matter. So I don't know what they were thinking about, or why I was treated so severely and so harshly, or could it be that it's just because I'm a black man? All right. And they don't expect for any of us to speak up or say anything. But my thing is, I don't feel like, first of all, I had a job. I had a very good job when I when I was taken to jail. They made me lose my job, made me lose my house, my cars, everything that I owned, I lost while I was sitting there in jail. When I walked out of jail, look, they even stole my shoes. I had a pair of suede shoes that I wore into jail, and I didn't even, somebody stole my shoes out of the property locker. When I left out, I had on a pair of jail flip-flops. All right. The whole entire time. And then this is the other thing. I saw people die over child support. Die over child support. Michael Ferguson. I'll put the name out there. Michael Ferguson. God rest his soul. I saw this man. This man had congestive heart failure. He had had a stroke. He was barely able to walk and talk. And they locked him up in Greenville County Jail, and he died. All right. I'm just, and all of these people that are walking around talking about, talking about justice and equality, that's BS. All right. The other thing is, all of these corporations like BMW and Volvo and Mercedes-Benz and everything like that, if you go along with this system, you are complicit in the slavery of black men and women. That's the bottom line. And I take care of my kids. All of this money that you put on me was money that you put on me while I was locked up in jail. And then after I was convicted, I couldn't even get a job. Nobody would hire me. I couldn't even get a job at McDonald's. And I tried. And the only reason why I stayed out of jail for as long as I did was because I went to a program called Fatherhood. And that's why I'm on here right now. It was called Upstate Fatherhood in Greenville, South Carolina. And my late friend, Robert Houston, worked for them. And he told me about the program. I voluntarily went to Fatherhood program. Not court appointed, not assigned or anything like that. I went to the program. I took all the courses and I passed them, and I graduated from the Fatherhood program, including parenting classes and everything else. My ex tried to say that I was crazy or whatever. You know, I ended up going through 3 psychological evaluations. The final time that I went to the evaluation, the lady kicked me out of the psychology office. She said that you are more sane than most people that I've ever been around. That's exactly what she said. And she said, you need to get out of my office. Jokingly, she wasn't mean. She wasn't being mean. But do you understand what I'm saying? This is ridiculous. How do you lock me up, make me lose everything I have, then tell me that I owe you $35,000? I don't, and I don't feel like I do. And I have been taking care of my children for the last 5 years. I'm remarried. I have a wife and I have children. I take care of them. That's what I do all day, every day. What I do is to take care of my wife and children. And I am not a deadbeat dad. You know, they try to throw that up there. Oh, he's a deadbeat dad. I am not a deadbeat dad. I have 7 children. Each one of my children has a relationship with me, except my youngest son, who my ex-wife will not allow me to see, has not allowed me to see. Even when I was paying child support, she didn't allow me to see him. She still has not allowed me to see him, but the system is all right with that. They're all right with a father not seeing his son. You know, my other boys, I have them, and then everybody else is already reached the age of majority, and they're grown and they're out there on their own. And by the way, all of my children who are out there are successful, that I raised, not that anybody else raised. They are successful. They went to college or they went to the military, and they are doing well. They are self-supporting, and they are not relying on anything from the system. All right. So, because that's not how I teach or how I train my children. So I'm just saying, even though I wasn't happy about my daughter, I'm going to be honest, I wasn't happy about my daughter going to the military, but that's what she wanted to do. So she's there. But the bottom line is, y'all owe me. I don't owe you, South Carolina, Greenville, South Carolina. I don't owe you. You owe me. You destroyed my family. What the family court, you should call it family destruction. And I'm not the only one. There are literally hundreds of guys that are around there. And why is it that, and the other thing I noticed about Greenville, South Carolina, every black man in Greenville, South Carolina has been through child support court or has been locked up or whatever. And it ain't that rampant. But funny how, it only affects people that don't have money. If you don't have money or if you don't have any power within the system, it only affects you. It doesn't affect anybody else. So I want to know what's up. Why is that like that? Why am I a slave to a system that I didn't even create? A slave to a system that I have no knowledge about, and I never lived in South Carolina in my entire life. And the only reason why I ended up there is because my ex ended up there with her boyfriend. And by the way, she got all of the money from our marriage and everything else. Her and her boyfriend ran around and spent all the money. So let her pay. And she ain't took care of none of these kids. When I got my son literally had a shopping bag full of clothes. And it was like 2 shirts and 2 pair of pants. That's all he owned in the world. He owned nothing. All right. Same thing with my daughter. When they came to live with me, they literally had nothing. In fact, she wasn't even feeding them. They hadn't eaten. And still to this day, a lot of things that we eat or that they've discovered, it was because they left there. Anyway, I gotta go. 15 minutes is up. I love you. Child support is BS. All right, because most people should not be in jail because of child support. Anyway, here it is. Hit like, hit subscribe, hit the love button. I love you. God bless you. Bye-bye.